Okay, so here's where I am with this one. But really what I'm fixing to do is show you the beginnings of the drawing. The more I do this, the more fun I have, the more I just think everybody has to get with it here. Uh, so I've got a light tracing of some of my flowers, and which is close to this. This was just drawn, and I wasn't quite happy with them. So I have here a green oxide Faber-Castell watercolor pencil. Uh, and the way it's sharpened is important because I don't use a pencil sharpener. I use a razor blade and try to keep the thickness of the watercolor pencil in there. Because I'm not even looking for little fine lines. Thing is, if you use a bright one, that's fun too, and it's a different look. But I've got these white flowers, and this is the safe way. This is the safe way. You could also, of course, you could use a gray one. You could use black, of course, and water-soluble graphite. Water-soluble graphite's not quite as soft. You probably can't see here that I've got that soaking in the water, but it doesn't have to soak near as long as the water-soluble graphite. This is really pretty soft. So let's see. I think I want that to come down a little further than that line. See, and I'm turning it sideways so that I can get a thick, kind of, it's thick textured line. And then maybe go really thin or not at all. You can pre-wet this paper and, wipe most of the water off, blot most of the water off, and the pencil will draw beautifully in it. You could do it that way too. I just like to be able to get a little bit more variety of line, and I can always add that other touch in later. So here where two petals join, maybe I'll make that a little darker. That's a good place to add a little extra something. So that's kind of outliney, isn't it? Well, I have a plan for that, which is part of why I'm demonstrating this again, because y'all have seen me do this. In fact, maybe what I ought to do is pause this and then come back. I've got a line in there I don't need to. Yeah, that is a little bit too much of an outline look. But I'm not worried about it because I'm going to use the Mr. Clean. Oh, Mr. Clean. Remember that? I just drove me nuts, and now I think he's just wonderful. Now I'm impressed with Mr. Clean. Okay. So, see where that comes together? This thing looks totally like that's the center of the flower. And it's just totally not the center of the flower, as we will soon show. So here I've got the stem coming down there this time, because I just traced these two flowers. I separated them from and moved them around, so they're not in exactly the same place. And you can always blot this thing off too, And one could splatter. I have not done that with this. I don't know why I didn't. In fact, I have very dirty water, which is lovely because, let's just do that. Let's just have that on there for a while. Well, the problem is that's too wet for this pencil. I think it's going to cause a problem because then it's going to drag. Okay. So when you're like, I don't want all those spots on my painting. Actually, I don't either. But I would like some pale spots, which is what these are going to be when I get through with them. Okay. So I guess what I should do is not really show the whole dang thing. You know what? You could fast forward, darn it. Yeah. You can fast forward here. Let's just put that stem down here. This stem shouldn't even exist. This is the stem. Okay, and this is the stem. So I've got stems that don't count. And so I like that cute little vase I did up there. That cute little, I don't know what you call it, but it's just got that little, trying to get it pretty symmetrical, so I have to slow down and be nicer with it. Okay, there. So let's pull the stem down in here, down there. Well, here's the problem. Well, there's a lot of problems, but the problem that's bothering me right now is that, of course, these would never stand up in that vase like this without something else being crowded in there. In fact, they should have a longer, deeper vase anyway, but I'm not going to bother myself with that. Boy, that water has a lot of color in it, doesn't it? Oh, well, that's going to be fun. So I'm going to put some other stems or something that's got leaves. And these leaves tend to kind of do that little fall over thing there, which I like. Here's another leaf, and it didn't fall over. And maybe another leaf coming up here. But just something to give a little bit more body down in here, like there's something holding this up. I don't even know what that's. Maybe that goes to that. I don't really care about the physics of it. Oh, what did I just do here? I don't even know. But I'm going with it. So let's do another falling over leaf. I made that one pretty big. Oh, let's make it really big. That'll be fun. And that's the whole point that I'm trying to show is this should be fun. Okay, now, I don't know if I'm going to put that little vase over there or not, but I do know that, okay, let me show you. Of course, this is not going to show you very well, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to recreate something. So what I did was I stood this up against the wall, and then I set these apples in front. This poor apple's been up here in the studio shriveling for I don't know how long. And I said, oh, those look good there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put in there is apples. Well, maybe I'll go ahead and I'll put apples in this other one too. So I think I want the dark, oh no, on this one maybe I don't want the dark one there. I want the dark one on that other one first, but so maybe this one will go behind the leaf, but I want it to look like an apple, so it's got a shape here. You know what? Maybe this apple's helping hold that vase up. Well, if I'd put it a little further over, it could have been propped against it, huh? You notice there's some kind of straight lines in there. Always, if you have a choice, if you can, incorporate some straight lines into your stuff. And then this has to have a great stem on it because I like a good stem. That's all. That's why. Probably this needs some shadows under it. Trevina doesn't pay much attention to shadows, but shadows can make a wonderful pattern. I haven't really left room to do something really great with shadows here, but so this apple's tilted that way a little bit. I think I'll turn this one this way. Of course, you can't see what this way means. And it's got the little bumpy things on the bottom. I should have put bumpy things on that one. Okay, so maybe this one's a little, is it taller? Oh, I don't know. I don't want them the same, on the same level. Well, that's not very good. Quite frankly, that didn't totally please me. That's okay, because I'm going to show you what you do with stuff that doesn't make you happy. Not that you don't already know what I'm going to do. Oh, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Let's see, this needed to come over, and I need to pay more attention to what an apple really looks like. That's just pretty awful. Okay, and then I want to take that stem, and maybe I'll tilt it this way just a little bit. Well, they look like a bit of a pair, don't they? Oh, I'm getting off here. So, you know what I like. I like that variety of lost and found edges in a drawing. I think that's just really, really important. So what am I going to do here? Well, of course, first thing I'm going to do is get clean water. Wait. So one of the things I was going to do was pull some color across. Oops, I didn't wash out the brush. Okay. So, well, thought I washed it out enough. So just pulling color in different directions. Okay. Now, one of the things I have discovered, in fact, y'all witnessed it. I don't know if you realized what was going on, but I did one where I did this with the water-soluble graphite, which it's really cool when you just have just the drawing, but it really kind of deadens a watercolor. So that's where I think a color here is better. I also think like a situation like this, those little bits of color in the outline could be really fun, depending on your intentions. So, okay. So we did a little bit of this kind of thing. Here, let's suggest a little shadow down there so it doesn't float. All right, so now let's take some paper towels. Clean ones would be nice, but you know, if they're not, you might get something interesting happening there too. Okay, that made it a little paler, broke it up a little bit, but still doesn't have the lost edges I want. So here comes Mr. Magic. Mr. Clean. All right. So I'm going to look for some places where I can make some lost edges. Oh, and then I might have a place that needs fixing. So this really doesn't damage your watercolor paper much. Don't think that it does no damage. If that was the middle of a sweet little child's portrait commission, I wouldn't want to do that. But then I probably wouldn't be drawing her with a green pencil either. So, oh, okay. Well, you know what? That's about right there. So let's lose some more edges. Actually, I might want where all this comes together. That might be one of those places where I want to put a little extra dark into it. That actually occurs naturally. Shadows that are cast where different objects come together, there's less light reflected around in there, and you get a little bit more of a dark. You don't get that, but, you know. There. So let's see. Let's definitely do a lost edge up here. Doesn't mean we won't re-find it with the background. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. What was that? Oh, that was a leaf. Gee, I hope I can remember what I did. See, because as we come through here and we lose some edges, you're going to see the drawing get better. And we're not totally losing them. You know, they're just weakened. Okay. Well, all of this. You know, some of this I may come back and put the lines back in. I really like where this blobbed up there. I really love that spot. And I like this right here. I wish this was a little stronger. Now the paper's damp here. It's not like wet because I blotted it, but okay. I really, just for the drawing. I'm looking at this right now as a drawing, not as what it's going to be when it's watercolored. And as a drawing, I still would like to lose an edge right there. Oh, and this thing, look at that. See, that is just, looks like the outlines, you know, in the coloring books when we were kids. Just a consistently wide line everywhere. This is sort of an awkward bit of the drawing anyway. Okay, well, let's break through right there. Okay, that's better. So that's my drawing. I've got those little pops of extra dark areas, and then I have bits of lost edge and bits of just kind of smeared interesting things. That's really golden there. I just love that. I just wish I had one more of those somewhere. See if I turn that sideways and kind of just didn't quite, you know, I think part of that I like about that is it skipped a couple of spots. That's manufactured instead of accidental, but well, there's nothing wrong with being manufactured. I mean, made with the human brain. Let's go ahead and because we know we're going to have a dark under these apples. I now know to call that an occlusion shadow. Okay. So that's the drawing that I'm going to start out with on another one, but you won't see it. This is just the part one, because I didn't have a part one.